And there he goes, running off to leave his 5-year-old daughter in the back seat, where the two guys took care of her and then they took care of them.
Video from a Forest Hill car wash to identify the suspects. It shows Ronnie Sibley, known by his rap name Lil Ronnie, trying to get away while being shot at. Sibley's daughter, Mani, was in the car. She was also killed. Robinson faces capital murder charges. Police are still looking for the second suspect, Jacoby Russell.
So if you hadn't heard, outside of Fort Worth, Texas, in a little suburb called Forest Hills, they gunned down some rapper named Lil Ronnie. Big manhunt for the guys. One's already been taken into custody.
Tonight, after shooting a well-known rapper and his little girl. Matt Houston just got a look at new court documents that reveal the courts repeatedly gave both men second chances.
Forest Hill police Wednesday identified the two men they suspect killed rapper G-Money Lil Ronnie and his 5-year-old daughter as Jacoby Russell and Adonis Robinson.
They're scared, they're cowards, they're hiding.
Each has a criminal record and a history of taking advantage of the mercy judges have shown them. In 2023, Russell was arrested for hitting a pregnant woman. According to court documents, he took a plea deal but broke his end of the agreement when he shot a man later that year. Again, he got a deal, a misdemeanor conviction. The punishment, 1 year on the labor detail where inmates can work off their sentence instead of going to jail. All the 21-year-old had to do was show up once a week beginning this January. But court records suggest he didn't, and police were asked to find Russell and jail him just 3 weeks before this shooting.
It was a shocking event from North Texas.
In 2019, a grand jury accused Adonis Robinson of attacking a 55-year-old woman who was jogging around Marine Creek Lake. He tried to pull down her pants, police said, but a bystander scared him off. He was arrested 3 months later and spent 2 years in jail. When he got out, he was supposed to register as a sex offender, but court documents show he didn't do it and went back to jail.
As usual, the family members say he didn't have it coming, but
he was a good kid, y'all. He was. He didn't bother nobody.
That nigga wasn't no good dude. That nigga was a drug dealer. He was definitely tied into the drug game, and he's connected in with a lot of the rappers who sell drugs in this city. A lot of them dudes know him, and he was the lean plug. If you know, you know.
Oh my dead mama, you can't go to that car wash, boy. Yeah, the didn't keep you up out of murder gang. Stop playing. The Southside was never accepting you, gang.
For you to be who you are in this city and be in the smoke you are with some real killers, I just don't get how you riding around with your daughter on some comfort shit.
As you can see, people in Fort Worth area had a different view of Lil Ronnie, as did the guy he was beefing with, CJ Kasino. CJ Kasino had been getting robbed for his jewelry, and Lil Ronnie's crew, I guess, was taking credit for it. So, of course, he was a rapper, and he was beefing with some other rapper. What's new? These are all kind of lower tier guys, but Go Yayo, you might have heard of. Go Yayo's beefing with Sauce. What's his name? Sauce Walker. And recently, so a guy named CJ Kasino, another rapper, told him he better not go to that gas station. Go Yayo, the most famous rapper of the bunch, who's in prison right now. Lil Ronnie was part of his crew, and Go Yayo had been threatening CJ Kasino. So all these people threatening each other, and yet you're riding around with your 5-year-old on her birthday. And whether it was this rapper, CJ Kasino, who has something to do with it or not, people don't gun you down like that over nothing. You had to know something was going on. And he fled in terror, left his daughter. He shouldn't have been riding around with her anyways. And the two guys in custody are part of rapper CJ Kasino's crew. I guess they're called the Kasino crew. And they beef with Hood Fame, which is led by Go Yayo and is tied in with Sauce Walker. And I guess Go Yayo was shot before he went to prison, and Sauce Walker had called his phone just before that. Sauce Walker's tied in with CJ Kasino. And Go Yayo is down with the guy who just lost his life.
The flea market clothes ain't gonna work. It's bad. Rockstar is not designer. Rockstar is not designer. It's bad. These niggas put on the.
Now all of a sudden, oh, I can't believe this. They been having shootouts.
So I have to agree with Charleston White. Acting like all this stuff is shocking is absurd at this point.
None of us is innocent, not even that baby who lost her life, because the Bible says that you will suffer from your father's sins.
If you had the impression that, like, Black America is very violent and all this crazy stuff goes on, well, that's not really true. All of this stuff goes on primarily in a small amount of places. At this point in America, let's see, Black male incarceration rates have fallen 44% in the last 20 years. Homicide rate for black males, while still elevated, is the lowest it's ever been since 1950 when the U.S. government first started tracking homicides separately by race. I mean, it went up during the pandemic, but it went back down. Before the pandemic, it was the lowest it had ever been. Now, we hear about the few places where it's crazy things happen, but that's a small amount of America. And even a city like Fort Worth with all these rappers killing each other, it's like all the violence is amongst the same pool of people that are the rappers and the street guys, because Fort Worth isn't dangerous. Fort Worth had 100 murders with 1 million people. That gives it a murder rate of 10. Oh, this was for the last year. I checked maybe a couple years ago. That gives it a murder rate of 10 per 100,000. Somewhere like Detroit or Baltimore has like a murder rate of 50 per 100,000. Birmingham, which was leading the nation, Jackson, Mississippi, it was like 2 years ago, its murder rate was like 90-something per 100,000. Even though they call Fort Worth murder worth, well, the rappers do, it's just a small pool of people doing this. What I always say, I don't know why people act surprised at what this group of people do. I got many friends in that group of people. They tell you what they're on. They hold up the money, say, I'm getting money in the street. They show you the money. They show you the stuff they buy with it. They wave their guns. They tell you, my man, he's fighting a murder case. Free so-and-so, free so-and-so. We'll shoot you if you come over here. Why don't you believe them? I grew up in a dangerous environment. I learned as a child. Listen to what people tell you. They tell you I'm this and that. I'm an active gang member and I do this and that. Okay. Don't have to tell me twice.
Oh my damn mama, you can't go to that car wash, boy. Yeah, the didn't keep you up out of murder gang. Stop playing. The Southside was never accepting you, gang.
This video from a Forest Hill car wash to identify the suspects.
All the regular people that listen to the music made by all these rappers that kill each other, though, gotta ask yourself a question. Are we the ones, well, I'm not really regular. Are you the ones, and this stuff doesn't shock me, this is par for the course, but are you complicit? And also, listen, we're all woven together. And to act like these things are, oh, this is also shocking. If you buying drugs from people and they got guns and they're this and that, well, don't be surprised at what they do. So all the things that all of us do for entertainment funds, not all of us, but people listen to, whether you listen to music, buy drugs, whatever, it's funding the street activities. And listen, there's people that you can see what these guys wanted already. Tried to grape somebody. They had shooting cases before. Why these guys weren't in jail? Well, you know, when you want to end the mass incarceration, when you want to have less people in prison, well, that means there's going to be more people out. It's somewhat of a trade-off, but incarceration rates have generally been trending downward the last 20 years slowly. And crime as well, which is good. They both have gone down, but there's still groups of specific people that are in these lifestyles, and they tell you what they're doing, so this should come at no surprise. And a lot of these so-called street guys, they don't love their kids and their family. Like, anytime you put yourself at risk of getting killed or going to prison and leaving your family, not to mention what just happened with this Lil Ronnie guy, he had to know Again, whether this was the Kasino guy or this had anything to do with the rap beef, it may not have, though. The two suspects are supposedly part of Kasino's crew. And here's a photo of one of them with CJ Kasino. Now, does that necessarily mean he sent them to do it? No, it doesn't necessarily mean that. They're probably also both in the same circuit of other street activities. Down there in Fort Worth, what was his name? J5? There was a kid. Oh, now that's an interesting story. He was in a young black rapper gang member world, and he killed a bunch of guys. And he ended up getting found. He was killed. He had an AK with him or something. And they came out that the cartel, some Mexicans killed him. He was doing hits for Mexican CARTEL people. And then they got rid of him. So it's not just a rap, it's interwoven. But at this point, it's like every street crew has a rapper. Because it's just part of the thing. Like, you're going to promote your brand through the music and maybe, I guess, try to get out of the streets. But you definitely are going to promote your brand. Rappers now, if you get popular rapping, you can be a pimp. Sauce Walker's whole thing is he got rich. He has his girl he got pregnant on OnlyFans, paid him $5 million or something. The popularity from the rap allows you to get girls to pimp on. There's a bunch of cases of rappers getting indicted for that. And then Sauce Walker got smart. He put them on OnlyFans, so it's all legal. Not saying it's bad, it's just what it is. But it's interesting, and, well, I'm going to talk about all this in another thing. But so, yeah, this rapper in Texas got himself and his daughter taken out. 5 years old, them guys didn't care. They walked up on him at the gas station. The girl was 5. She wasn't that little. She was, I'm sure, moving around. I don't see how they didn't see her. There's a third suspect already, which probably means the first guy who got caught told him about someone else. Could have been a hit out on him for something else. As you heard earlier, those guys are talking about he's known to be a big drug dealer. These guys' money comes from somewhere. It doesn't come from rap. Because trust me, I got a whole YouTube channel full of videos with 500,000 views. You got to have a lot for it to add up to some money. And those guys having those rap videos don't make that much money because they're short. Each million views on a rap song is $2,000 or less. So something you look and say, oh, it's got 800,000 views. Maybe $1,500. Now they also get money off Spotify and this, that, and the third, but I don't even know how much show money they get because there's so much violence. They do less shows than they could. But
oh my dead mama, you can't go to that car wash, boy. Yeah, the didn't keep you up out of murder gang. Stop playing. The Southside was never accepting you, gang.
Texas Rangers just arrested one of the suspects in the shooting that killed a Tarrant County rapper and his 5-year-old little girl. They arrested Adonis Robinson in Livingston, a city an hour north of Houston.
Lil Ronnie was beefing with CJ Kasino. Does that guy have anything to do with this? Sure seems mighty suspicious. But it'll play out. Those two guys will tell it. They're going to tell on somebody. They ran up on him for some reason. I mean, now I did see, oh, that's what I forgot. I guess the Lil Ronnie guy dug up somebody's grave, like one of the ops. So put in the comments. I'll do a more about that if you have some more information for me. Did he dig up somebody's grave? I mean, that'll get you. And listen, if he was doing street stuff, you don't know what else went on. Some kid somewhere else could have got killed. I don't know. Like, when things get serious, things get serious. And one thing for anyone watching this that's out here shooting guns, if you're shooting outside, you could hit someone else. And when you go in front of the judge, they don't want to hear it. That's the type of stuff you get sizzled in the electric chair, which that one in custody, I bet you, is trying to tell us before they catch the other one. Somebody's getting sizzled. and the other one's going to do 30 years. Al Prophet, American Dope.